Hi guys, Kevin Ellis Jr. here with the Apex Racing Academy with this track guide for Oran Park in the Porsche Cup car. So guys, just to get straight into this, down towards turn 1, a little bit of an awkward braking zone into here. I prefer just to leave this in 5th into here just to skim it off the rev limiter. Shifting up into 6th doesn't really seem that much of a benefit. For all the time you gain, it just makes your life a little bit more difficult in the braking zone. So I personally just leave it in 5th, hit it off the limiter. If you're in draft, then obviously use 6th gear, but when you're by yourself, this should be absolutely fine. And basically what I'm doing into turn 1 is as I come past the end of this wall right here, I keep it flat for just another few meters, which you can see, and then just begin to get onto the brake afterwards. And my whole goal really is to try and make sure I'm at threshold braking by the time I get across these checked white lines, which you can see we're at threshold here, and we're going to hold roughly that. Now obviously the braking's going to vary quite a bit through here. You can see me modulating the brake up and down just to try and keep the rotation of the car the way I want it, whilst also maintaining the right line. So clipping the curb on the left, gradually coming down the downshifts as well. Be nice and patient with the downshift. Don't start trying to downshift straight away. Wait just a little bit to start shifting down the gears. Aim for the curb on the outside. Down into 4th, down into 3rd, and as we begin to turn this in, down into 2nd gear, and then we begin to ease it in, looking for the apex. This is a double apex corner here, so you can see the first apex comes in there, then it kind of fades away, and then the second apex comes up. So we're making sure that we're going to pick up the throttle just after the first apex, just before the second one. Nice and early back on the power, managing the wheel spin, managing any kind of slide, and just clipping out to the grass, out to the curb on the right hand side. Bringing it back across to the left here, and into here the braking zone's a little bit awkward. There's a slightly darker patch of tarmac like around here, which might be quite hard to see in the recording. Again, it's very, very faint and sim. I can barely even see it here. But I'm just beginning to brake just at the start of the slightly darker concrete, or alternatively making sure you're at threshold by the time you get to the start of this curve on the left hand side, which you can see as we're at the start of that, we're at threshold, brake isn't changing, and then we begin to bring brake out of it. Into here, turned in just slightly late. You can see here I've missed the tire, I've missed the car, sorry, missed the apex by about a tire width. Obviously you want to try and get your right hand wheels right in on that flat bit of curb, not hitting the raised part. But I was a bit conscious to not hit the raised part, so ended up in contrast, not quite getting as close as I probably should have. But into here, we're just turning in nice and early, just try and wrap the curb as well. You don't really want to take a double apex, you more want to kind of wrap this tight, and then the corner will awkwardly kind of tighten up on exit, which you can see here. We've got a big chunk of oversteers on power as well in 2nd gear, and just make use of the curb on the outside, jump back in just before the grass starts, and then up into this next right-hander just before the bridge. See there's a kind of tire stack on the left hand side, and again into here it's kind of barren of brake markers. There's no real bits on the track or anything like that. But I guess what you can do is once you come past the end of this sort of access road right here, after you come past the start of the grass here, you just start to brake. So you can see we go past the start of it, and then we're braking. And I guess for me personally, what I was using was making sure I was at threshold by the time I got to this tire stack. You can see we're at threshold. As soon as we pass the tire stack, dropping the brake out of it as we come across the this big bump right around here is where the two tracks kind of join up. Down into 2nd gear, and you want to carry a lot of speed into this corner because it is uphill, so gravity will do a lot of the work for you. And you can see into here we've carried a lot of speed in. This is a really big commitment track in terms of entry speed, so that's really important that the more confident you can get on entry, the more time you're going to find. So into here we're really aggressive on entry speed, clipping the apex on the inside, picking up the throttle at the exact same time you hit that apex as well. You can see we come in, picking up the throttle through the apex in 2nd gear, up into 3rd on the exit, out towards the grass on the left hand side, getting as close as you can into this bridge, and then as we come up over the crest into the over the top of the bridge, make sure you're at threshold before you get to the grass on the left hand side here. Just a little bit of a little dab of brake as you come up over the brow of the hill, and then once you come past the grass, just trail and brake over the top of the bridge, and then picking up the throttle just before you get to this access road on the right. It's a really difficult section this. As I say, there's no brake markers, it's really bumpy, it's really slick. So as we come up the hill, I guess what you could do is as soon as you see the tarmac come into shot on the left hand side here, just there, up over the crest, nothing, there's the tarmac on the brakes. You could potentially use that, but for me, I really was just braking off a feel through here, just trying to be as consistent as possible. And then as we bring it through in 3rd gear, I'm picking up the throttle just before we get to this little cut through here, this little access road. and third gear. Now you can get it tighter than this, but the tighter you get to the apex, the bumpier it is. So I was just staying like a tire width wide the whole way through it, just to try and clear the bumps. Like right in around here is really bumpy. So third up into fourth, you can see I have a little bit of a correction, and you're going to aim for the curb on the outside to just try and widen up this next right hander as much as possible. So dip out into the curb, and then into here where we get up into fourth, just on the curb, but then I downshift straight back to third again. Braking, making sure you're at threshold by this point here. You can see I'm braking just a little bit earlier, just so I've got time to get to threshold by the start of that curb, then slowly bring the brake pedal out of it, just keep weight over the front tyres, and then as soon as we get our right front onto this curb on the inside, you see we're going to pick up the throttle. Make use of this this concrete on the inside here, take the tighter line through the corner, be nice and aggressive over that curb, and then through here, short shifting up into fourth before the left, all up over the left hand side. There's a big bump right there, you can see right as the curb sort of takes that little indent inwards. There's a big bump right around here which you are going to hit, so you're going to get to full throttle before it, but then make sure you have a little lift off as you come over the top of it. See, I've just had a little bit of a confidence lift there as I've hit it, just to make sure that as I come into here, I'm not going to clip the grass, and using all the track, you can see how close we are to the grass. I hit on the right hand side here, right out onto the curb in third gear, and just trailing up the hill. And again, you can be nice and early back to throttle pick up again because it is uphill. So you go from, you know, a big downhill braking zone where the car's really light into the compression where it really grips up. The nose will come in, really be really responsive through here, and then right as you get to the inside curb, picking up the throttle, powering through that apex, tracking it out wide, still using third, then up into fourth, get it back across to the left as soon as you can, and through here you're aiming for this. So like, as you're back here, you're looking up here. Obviously you want to look where you want to go. So we're looking up here, spotting that little white piece of concrete up here that we're going to make use of. So as we come in, we just try and make sure that we have a nice trajectory, just so the right hand tyres can just clip right next to that white concrete. Obviously we can't get right up on it because it turns to grass right as you want to turn in, and that will spin the car. But you do want to aim for it so that your right hand wheels are all up over this curb on the inside here. And then as you come up through here, you're obviously completely blind. This is from chase cam, we're still pretty blind, so obviously in the car we're sitting a good few feet lower. As you come up into here, apologies for that. As you come up into the left hand, you do want to aim for the black curb on the left hand side right here, which you can see as you come up over the top of the hill. So from inside the car, as I say, up into here, we're aiming for this white curb, and through here I'm just trying to match the trajectory of the curb. As I get over it, gently coming off the throttle, there's a little bit of a lift, and as soon as we hit the curb on the right, what I was using was, as soon as it sort of got this little lighter patch of curb here where it goes from darkened to lighter, as soon as the right front of the car got to there, I'd start to turn in. I found that was a pretty good reference point. As long as you can match the trajectory here on the way in, as you hit that lightened part of the curb here, you should just be able to turn left, which you can see I do there. And you're nice and aggressive. You want to be aggressive up over the inside here. It's a little bit bumpy, but it does give you more room to work with on the exit. Because obviously if you run a little bit wide, you're off into the grass and you're straight into that wall. There's no coming back on the track from that. So as I say, little light part of the curb, turn in left, just managing throttle through here over the curb, big bump on landing, back up to full throttle in fourth. And then into here you can see there's a slightly darker patch of tarmac right here. We're braking right just at the start of that. Downhill in third, so really heavy on the brakes, but then it's going to compress, so the car will be responsive, it will turn, and then we're uphill, so you need to be nice and aggressive and early back to throttle, otherwise you're going to lose time. So you need to brake late and hard for the last corner, but then it is going to compress and it will turn, and then you need to be super early back to throttle. There's really no downtime here. You can see aggressive back to throttle, riding the curb on the inside, and then as you come up over the crest, the rear will begin to get light, and just track it out as close to this wall on the outside as you can. Obviously in qualifying, watching on 0x that will invalidate the lap time, but then with that'll be a lap of Oran Park. So hopefully you guys have found this informative. Obviously this is a really tough track, as I say, it's a big commitment track, really tight, overtaking is going to be tough, no real runoffs whatsoever, so really tough track to get around consistently. But with that guys, hopefully you found it informative. As always, any kind of questions, ask in the Apex Racing Academy Discord. The group coaching session will be up again as always on Tuesdays at 7 PM UK time. So with that guys, hopefully we'll see you in the session this week, and all the best of luck in your races.